If you've ever competed in, well, anything, you know the feeling. Those butterflies in your stomach, the sweaty palms, your thoughts just racing before a big game. It's that universal pressure to perform, and it hits every single athlete, whether you're playing on a Sunday morning or in the Super Bowl.
And sometimes the ways we deal with it are, well, they're just brilliantly human, aren't they? This comment from a Reddit user is hilarious. Yeah, but it's also a perfect reminder that pre-game nerves are a totally normal physical thing that happens when the stakes are high.
So this brings up the big question, doesn't it? Everybody feels the pressure, but the elite performers, they seem to have a special playbook for it. They don't just put up with the nerves, they actually use them. So how do they do that? How do they turn all that pressure into a clutch performance? Well, let's open up the playbook and find out. All right, the first play in the book is a huge mental shift. The goal isn't to somehow get rid of your nerves, because that's impossible. No, it's all about finding your optimal zone by learning how to regulate them. A key term that sports psychologists use for this is arousal. Now, this isn't just about being hyped up. Think of it more like a spectrum of activation, from feeling totally sluggish to full-on panic mode. The real secret is finding your personal sweet spot, that perfect balance between intensity and focus. So you've got two danger zones. On one end, you're under-aroused. You're slow, your mind is wandering. You just can't seem to get into the game. And on the other end, you're over-aroused, just crippled by anxiety. Your muscles are tight, negative thoughts are swirling. Either way, it leads to the exact same outcome, not playing your best. You can't control what you don't understand, right? So the very first step for any athlete is developing self-awareness. It's really about learning to recognize your own emotional states and figuring out what triggers them, what makes you too anxious, and what leaves you feeling kind of flat. That self-awareness, that's the foundation for our next section, building your pre-game routine. See, once you know your triggers, you can build a system. This is all about controlling the things you can control to put yourself in that perfect zone before the competition even kicks off. And here's some fantastic, actionable advice from sports psychologist Dr. Chris Carr. This isn't just some vague hope for the best stuff. It's a real, concrete process. Visualizing success, using that bus ride for deep breathing, even physically writing down your distractions and then tearing up the paper, these are deliberate things you can do to get your mind right. And this is where it gets really personal. As you can see from these examples from athletes on Reddit, the absolute key is consistency. Whether it's a specific playlist or, that infamous pregame trip to the bathroom, these rituals create a sense of comfort and control when everything else feels chaotic. I love this quote. It's such a powerful mental reframe. Instead of fighting your nerves, just see them as proof that you care, that this thing is important to you. That feeling in your stomach, it isn't just anxiety, it's energy. And the trick is to learn how to channel that energy into excitement and focus. Okay, so your pregame routine is locked in. You're in the zone. But what happens when the game actually starts and the pressure is really on? Now we need strategies for mastering the moment itself. The fire and water analogy is a super simple but really powerful way to think about this. Your fire is your passion, your drive to win. But all fire with no control just leads to burnout. Your water is your composure, your ability to accept a mistake and just let it go. Too much water, though, and you're not really engaged. The goal is to create steam, that perfect blend of focused, intense, and composed competitiveness. So here's some practical, in-the-moment tools to help you find that balance. And it can be as simple as forcing a smile to release tension in your face, or consciously slowing down your movements when you feel yourself starting to rush. These aren't just feel-good ideas. They're actual psychological and physiological hacks to regulate your arousal level right there on the field. Of course, no matter how prepared you are, mistakes are going to happen. A dropped pass, a missed shot, it's part of the game. The thing that defines a mentally tough athlete isn't avoiding mistakes, it's how quickly they can rebound from them. And who better to learn from than one of the absolute best? Patrick Mahomes just nails it here. He's talking about how he learned not to let one mistake bleed into the next one. The real mental error isn't the fumble itself. It's still thinking about the fumble while the next play is already starting. His whole focus is on that next play mindset. So this breaks that next play mindset down into a repeatable process you can actually use. First, Acknowledge the error. Don't deny it happened, but don't beat yourself up over it. Second, consciously let it go. It's done. It's in the past. And third, immediately refocus all your attention onto the present moment, the very next play. It's a mental muscle that you have to train, just like any other. So, we've covered everything from pre-game prep to in-game resilience. The best way to think about these strategies is as tools. The more tools you have in your mental toolkit, the more prepared you're going to be for any situation that comes your way. Let's just boil it all down one more time. This is the mental playbook. Find your arousal zone. Build that consistent routine. Balance your fire and your water. Have a quick reset routine ready to go. And always, always cultivate a next play mindset. That right there is the foundation of mental toughness. And that brings us to the final thought. A playbook is totally useless if it just sits on the shelf. All this knowledge is only powerful if you actually apply it. So the real question for you is this. Looking at all these tools, what's the very first play you're going to put into practice for your next competition?